the PM show, CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Jennifer Horn in for Michael tonight, and also in studio with me today, Eric Joseph, our news director. And on our Celebrity Hotline, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Johnny Carson joining The Tonight Show. And former media relations for that show is Charlie Barrett. And he's been giving us a little bit of the history of The Tonight Show. Very interesting stuff. Before the break, we talked about some of the guests that Johnny Carson liked a lot. Some that wouldn't come on the show at all, like Cary Grant. And then you were talking about some of the ones that were kind of outlawed from the show. And tell us that list again.
Yeah. Well, I remember Carl Sagan, the famous astronomer, the expert on the universe. He did made some faux pas that was just really out of line and was rather offensive in correcting Johnny a couple of times in discussion about these.
Wow.
Johnny, of course, wasn't an amateur astronomer. I wouldn't even call him amateur, actually. He took it quite seriously. He bought a telescope that hung out in Malibu. But that was one guest that was never invited back.
I guess so.
Then, this is another surprising one, too. Ellen DeGeneres, when she was a very fledgling young comedian, had some material that she was going to be doing for her debut on the show. Well, I guess it was actually her second time back, so it could be her second appearance.
Right.
And the material was, no, we're not improved. And I don't know what the material was, I forget now, but she did it.
Wow.
And they never invited her back, and they scolded her in the green room, which is where all everyone used to hang out before they would go out and appear with the guests.
Ellen has softened. She has softened so much, though, because what people probably don't remember about her is that she was really kind of a rough around the edges comic when she started out.
She was, and she was very good, very talented, and she really shined. And this guy named Jim McCauley, who used to work as a talent coordinator on the show, and he would scour all the clubs from New York to L.A. to San Francisco to New Orleans, looking for new raw talent, and do this once or twice a year, get on the road and go out like a talent scout.
Right.
And, of course, she was found, I guess, in Los Angeles at the Improv. I believe that's how the story goes. And he is very much responsible for her getting booked on the show in the first place. So, but that didn't, the material that she did was really, they were very unhappy with it. And she was not invited back. So, but then, of course, look where she is today. So
exactly,
ironically,
she's not hurting.
Maybe in the show in Studio One, where the Tonight Show was done.
Interesting.
Before she moved over, I believe, to Universal now. I guess that's.
And just
there's a lot of little tidbits like that are rather interesting.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you taking the extra time. I know we only had you for one segment, but just before we go, tell me, the Tonight Show started in New York. When did it eventually move to Los Angeles?
1972.
Interesting. Okay, so that's when they brought it to
1 hour in the 1980s after the contract dispute Johnny had with NBC. So, it moved here in 1972, 40 years ago. Very
good. Well, Charlie, will you come back with us again? Because this was fun. I love doing historian stuff on The Tonight Show.
Have to do the show again anytime.
All right. Charlie Barrett has been our guest.
Thank you for inviting me very much.
Thanks so much, Charlie. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Jennifer. Bye-bye.
All right. That was fun. Did you like that? I mean, because you're a kind of a young whippersnapper, Eric Joseph. Did you find that interesting?
Yeah, that was really cool.
It's kind of fun to hear about the old-time Hollywood stars and Johnny Carson. I mean, that was when TV was so much fun because it was this new frontier and everybody was, investigating, trying to see what worked and what didn't, and just kind of fun, fascinating stuff. And, hey, speaking of TV and Hollywood history, did you hear the big news today? There's a new host for the Oscars.
Yes. And I have to say...
You have the story on this. Go ahead.
I have to say that I'm actually pretty excited to see the Oscars this upcoming year. Because Seth MacFarlane, the creator, the host, the funny guy from
Family Guy,
from American Dad, and he also had that raunchy movie that came out, Ted.
Ted, right?
The creator of it, Seth MacFarlane, will be the host of the 2013 Oscars.
Now, I guess to tell his dad that he was picked to host the Oscars, he created some sort of funny video that he sent over to his dad. Can you imagine? You're like, oh my gosh, so happy for my son. Hope he doesn't embarrass me, because he can be he can be raw.
Oh, he can be very raw, very raunchy. But what I like about him, though, is, and I know for a fact that they're going to be doing this on the Oscars, he loves the big band kind of platform, like to sing, and like the Frank Sinatras of the world. He loves that kind of
That's such a big element, too, of the Oscars. When Billy Crystal does his songs, I mean, that always makes the open. So
And,
that's a good choice,
Yeah,
I think.
it should be very entertaining. I imagine Billy Crystal making a surprise appearance.
Could not be any worse than James Franco and Anne Hathaway. I'm still embarrassed for that whole show. That was a tough one. In other celebrity news, good news today for Drew Barrymore. I guess she really was pregnant. You know, there was this suspicion.
Where'd that come from?
I know, there was suspicion for the last 9 months if Drew was actually pregnant or not. But bum, 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 bum. She must have been, because she had a baby girl today. She and her husband, Will Kopelman, welcomed their first child named Olive. Cute name. In Los Angeles, and she's healthy, happy. The whole family's doing well. They actually just got married about 3-4 months ago in Montecito, California, and I think she's going to be a good mom. She went through a lot in her life. She's 37 now. She's settled down, and she's ready to go. So congratulations to them.
Yeah.
What else is going on in celebrity news today? What have you been working on?
Well, I've been working on my Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation.
Now, Arnold had a big weekend. He was a guest on 60 Minutes yesterday. Was that what you've been working on?
That's what. Dana, get down.
Pretty good. I like it.
Come with me if you want to live.
So, what was the big announcement from the governor?
Get to the chopper. I think it was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Okay, yeah. So Arnold said that it was the stupidest thing he'd ever done to have an affair on Maria. He also said Maria knew about this, and Maria Shriver's friends were saying, oh, no, she didn't. She would have never let that go on.
Yeah, she knew.
He also copped to a very steamy hot affair with Brigitte Nielsen. Interesting, when they were working on a movie together. And he said that the affair actually was good because it made him want to marry Maria Shriver. It happened when they were just living together.
How terrible
Does
of
that
an
make you
affair
feel
is
better?
that?
I know. That doesn't make Maria or Brigitte feel better, Arnold. We got to work on your PR with women.
He's just a girly man.
Basketball news when we come back. It is the PM show on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Jennifer Horn, Eric Joseph.